With the 2021 Concacaf Gold Cup just a few weeks away, I thought it would be interesting to take a look at some of the teams in an effort to see who can win this year's tournament. I will focus on a total of 9 different teams split into 3 groups labeled as the favorites, the contenders, and the outliers. For this video, we will start with the favorites. USA and Mexico are always favorites even when they send weaker teams as they will this year. And also Jamaica, who, due to some heavy recruiting of strong dual nationals and most likely signed a full strength squad this year, have emerged as unlikely favorites to win the tournament as well. So now let's take an in-depth look at each. First up, we have the USMNT. Now we know for a fact that this will not be our strongest squad as most of the starters will be rested for the World Cup qualifiers. So most likely it will consist of MLS players, some older, more experienced, and some younger newcomers. There can be some young European players who either didn't get a chance to play in Nations League or weren't even called up for different reasons. Although many fans would prefer young players that are doing very well in MLS like Caden Clark, Gianluca Busio, Cade Cowell, but Berhalter may be tempted to include older, more experienced players with the national team such as Christian Roldan, Kylian Acosta, and Paul Arriola, which fans have mixed feelings about. Either way, the squad should have more than enough quality to beat their fellow CONCACAF teams. Now, are they all but guaranteed to do so? Absolutely not by any means. But the tournament is being played on home soil and will have home advantage, at least when not playing against Mexico, which I'll talk more about later, so the US should definitely still be considered favorites to win. But now, how can they do it? Well, squad selection is definitely important, as the best players will give the US the best chance of winning, and I already made a whole video about the provisional roster and who should make it to the final 23-man roster, so be sure to check that out. Now, the US is in Group B with Canada and Martinique, and the third team is yet to be determined, but lucky for me and lucky for you guys, I actually have a supercomputer with state-of-the-art prediction software. Okay, but don't tell anyone because I could get into some serious trouble. But thanks to that, I know the 3 teams that will make it out of the preliminary round. Do you know who that will be? Well, for Group B, it's going to be Haiti. Yes, Haiti, you heard it first here. And remember, only the top 2 teams will advance. So how can the US be one of them? Well, the US's first game will be against the aforementioned Haiti, and while they certainly do have a solid team which should be taken seriously, in fact, all teams should be taken seriously, the US is in no position to be underestimating anyone, but they should have more than enough quality to get a win here, along with the 3 points. Next will be Martinique. Even though they are a tiny island from the Caribbean near St. Lucia and Barbados, when it comes to soccer, they are no slouch. They managed to get a draw against Honduras and Trinidad and Tobago in the Nations League and scored 2 goals against Mexico in the previous Gold Cup. They can be a difficult team to play against and have shown that they can score even against better teams. But the US should still be able to get a win here, maybe like 2-1. Then the final game, which will be the toughest against Canada. The Canadians will most likely have their best players and be at full strength, so definitely one to watch out for. I can see us drawing this game, making it all the more important that we win the first 2 to guarantee making it to the next round, which I think we will along with Canada. Next, the quarterfinal. Now that will be against either Jamaica or Costa Rica. Now if we top our group, then most likely that will be Costa Rica. Again, no slouch, and definitely capable of knocking us out of the tournament. But once again, if Berhalter plays his cards right with player selection and tactics, then we should be able to get this one over the line, if just barely. The semifinal can potentially be against none other than freaking Honduras. Again. While we did manage to beat them in the Nations League, it's important to note that we were very, very lucky, and that was with our senior team. So Honduras is more than capable of giving us yet another knockout in a semifinal, like they did in Olympic qualifying. But the fact that they actually are going to be in the Olympics could be in our favor for 2 reasons. One, Honduras will most likely send their best youngsters to the Olympics instead of being here in the Gold Cup. And 2, we will have home field advantage with a crowd that will no doubt remember that loss and will want to make up for it. So hopefully they can push our team over the line and on to the final, which will most likely be Mexico. Now Mexico will have to beat some solid teams in order to get there, namely Jamaica, but we'll talk about that later. So we can be looking at yet another final against Mexico, but now the odds are in their favor. Gold Cup will be in the US, so we all know what that means, that it's going to have a majority pro-Mexico crowd. Why? Well, I love to do a whole video about that, but mostly because USSF sucks at marketing the national team to American Hispanics, so great job US Soccer, another own goal by you. Plus, Mexico will really want to get revenge for losing the Nations League. So yeah, I highly doubt the US wins this one, but if we get DK, Hoppy, and Clark firing on all cylinders and Ochoa is at the Olympics instead of here, then yeah, plus a few minor miracles here and there, and I could see us winning this one too. It would be absolutely insane, probably more so than the Nations League win, but it would be absolutely amazing. Next up, Mexico. Rumor has it that they will be going full strength, or as full as they can, without some of their star younger players like Antuna, Vega, and Linus, plus three overage players that will also go, like Ochoa. But they could just say, forget the Olympics, and send all of those players to Gold Cup instead. I think that'd be pretty stupid because I think they actually have a good shot at winning gold again. But then again, the Mexican fans and media seem to be overreacting hard over the Nations League loss, so they may prioritize the Gold Cup instead. They are in Group A with Curacao, El Salvador, and according to my personal supercomputer, Trinidad and Tobago. Mexico tops this group easy. The quarterfinal will most likely be Panama, unless Qatar plays like super good and squeaks into that second spot, but I doubt it. Panama will be tough and have been playing good in early World Cup qualifiers, but they do seem to struggle against Mexico, conceding 3 goals in both games in the Nations League. So yeah, Mexico probably wins this one like 3-1. Then it's the semis, and that will be Mexico's toughest game because it will most likely be against fellow favorites Jamaica. This will be one of the best games of the tournament, and I honestly can see it going either way. I say a 2-2 draw and then to penalties. And in this scenario, let's say Mexico managed to win. Then it's on to the final, where again, if it's against the US, then Mexico, thanks to home field advantage and a strong desire for revenge, probably wins. Ta-da! Before we move on, just a quick reminder to please go ahead and hit that like button if you are enjoying the video and if you enjoy the channel, as that will help promote the channel to others as well. Now it's Jamaica's turn. Now, assuming they all get the due nationals they want, they could field a very strong team that includes the likes of Mikel Antonio from West Ham, Leon Bailey from Leverkusen, Andre Gray from Watford, and Bobby Reed from Fulham. Some very good players there that can do very well against other CONCACAF teams. But now, what does Jamaica need to do to win the Gold Cup? Well, they are in Group C with Costa Rica, Suriname, and once again, per my supercomputer, Guatemala. They will be the fourth team there. So a pretty easy group, and I think for Jamaica, it'll be easy to make it out of. Hardest team will probably be Costa Rica for them, but they will be the third team they face in the group stage, so by then Jamaica should already have enough points to qualify. Now, depending if they top their group or not, they will face either Canada or the US in the quarterfinal. Theoretically, the US would be easier because we will have a weakened squad while Canada will be sending full strength. But let's say they face Canada in the quarterfinal. Very tough team. It will be one of the best games of the tournament for sure. But I think Jamaica, especially if they get all those players they want, will have enough quality to slip past Canada, maybe like 3-2, or it could also go to penalties. But let's say Jamaica does it and beats Canada. Well, then they face the biggest challenge yet because the semis will most likely be against none other than Mexico, as mentioned before, which again will be sending the strongest possible squad. And honestly, this game, as mentioned before, could go to penalties. And in this case, let's say it's Jamaica that wins it and they move forward. Then they'd potentially face the US in the final. And after 2 hard-fought victories against Canada and Mexico, they may be quite tired. Some players might have picked up too many yellows or even be injured. But let's say Jamaica is able to somehow remain relatively unscathed through all that. Then yeah, I'd say they have a very strong chance of winning the final. And what an achievement that would be for them. It would be their first ever Gold Cup win. And have everybody asking,
where did these guys come from? Jamaica!
So those are the favorites to win the tournament and what they each need to do in order to win it. Next, we'll look at some of the other teams that are in strong contention as well. But until then, let me know what you think and who do you think has a better chance of winning this time around. Thanks for watching. This is American Soccer United, the place where American soccer fans unite.